Welcome back to Grassroots Media. Welcome back to this week's edition of the Gary's Paint and Body Shop Shawn Jones Show, where we cover everything on Rebel Hill with the South Greene Rebels football team. As always, I'm joined here with head coach Shawn Jones. Coach,
Hello.
How are we doing this evening?
Doing fine. Doing good.
We get a big win to talk about this week. It seems like that's been the trend over the last few weeks. You've had a little bit of a winning streak going on now, and it seems like as we've gone on throughout the season, the wins have just gotten bigger and bigger and bigger. You had the Happy Valley win, which essentially puts you in the driver's seat to win the region championship. You had the big milk can win over West Greene that basically solidified your region championship. But the win over Hampton solidified that you got sole possession of the region championship. Not only that, it was a big win over your biggest rival to end the season also. Again, you had to gut it out. A big win, trailing in the fourth quarter halfway through. How'd you get it done?
Well, we've just been used to it the last 5 weeks. We go all the way back to, and I've told everybody the last 5 games, early in the season, we played tough with Crockett, got beat, and then we had three games there right in a row there that, that wasn't too hard. And then, we get to Seymour, and we knew what was going to be like the rest of the year. So it's been like playoff atmosphere for us as a team since Seymour. But, the thing about it is that I think with the win streak and these wins, we've been down in 2 or 3 of them, but we didn't go nuts. We've done that before around here. And, when when Hampton took the lead, the boys didn't do anything, and 2 plays were back in the end zone and take the lead back. So that was a big deal. And then, after the fourth quarter, we got a little happy. We got the big turnover, which, again, Hampton didn't get it down there. The referees took it down from them, and that was big for us. We weren't going to complain about that, but that's when we got the ball back, and then got that last touchdown before the scoop and score. So it was big beating Hampton. It's always a big game against them. They had played well that night. Their coach said they hadn't played that well in a while. And I said, well, of course you haven't. It's South Greene. Everybody's going to play well against us, but that's just. And I guess that's a compliment when everybody plays well against us. I wish they wouldn't. I wish they'd find somebody else they want to beat so bad. But it's a big win for us. Got us back to conference championship we hadn't had in a couple years. So hopefully it gets us rolling here for the playoffs.
I think there's a certain level of respect when teams play well against you all too, because they know that you've basically been. You and Hampton have been the standard in the conference for so many years now.
Yeah, and it is, because like I say, we tell them every week, you watch them on film, and maybe they don't do some things that's great, but then after the game, they say, well, we played pretty good tonight. We haven't played that well in a while, and so, again, if you get to win, it is a big compliment. But it's just you hate that. It helps you for the playoffs. I think getting those wins out like that. You don't want to play every game where your JV or where your JV's playing in the second half and all that stuff, and your varsity don't get but a half. But so I'm hoping that helps us in the playoffs when you play those close teams like that and win those close games. To me, it shows you we got a really good football club. We won 7 straight there at the end of the year, so we just got to keep it going. And that's what you help. You play people like Hampton. They make you better. And I told their team, after the game, I said, Hampton always makes South Greene better.
Yep.
Even a couple of years ago, we didn't play them at the end of the year. We played them early in the year. And, they were real physical that night. I think it's a night. They beat us 35-0 2 years ago up here. And I said, we're going to beat like Hampton. And so the rest of the year we practiced like that. And we got better. Made the playoffs that year and different things. So Hampton makes us better, and they did the other night.
And let's talk about the game in full also, because it was a game to remember because the whole first quarter, I don't think you got an offensive possession. You had the 99-yard kickoff return touchdown from Nash, which gave you that touchdown to pull within 8-7, but I don't think you had a single offensive snap in that first quarter.
No, we didn't. That's what we talked about. Coach Burns, I just kind of talked to him this week. I said, well, you couldn't have been too nervous the first quarter, but you had to call play, So, and it was, I looked up, I think it was 4 minutes or 3.5 minutes to go in the first quarter when they scored. We returned the next kickoff, and they held the ball to the second quarter. So yeah, we didn't touch the ball in the first quarter. That's tough. You got to make sure your possessions in games like that you score when you get the opportunity, because I think we only ran like 35 plays the whole game, and that's not a lot. So we was able to move the ball and do some stuff. Had a big catch there by Jeffrey to take the lead there. So we again just felt like you got to one out. You did what you had to do. We knew Hampton was coming to play, and we were prepared for that. It wasn't like everybody's talking about. I think they were 4-6 or whatever, or 4-5. We didn't care. We knew what kind of game it was going to be with Hampton. They had some injuries, but we knew that they were going to bring it, and they did.
And we go through the game log too, and you don't get an offensive snap until the second quarter. You're able to score again with Nash Rader's 28-yard rushing touchdown. He had 2 touchdowns in total, and we'll talk about him in just a minute. But you go into the fourth quarter, and it's still a tight ball game. They take a 20-14 lead, and then you score 3 straight touchdowns to end the game. I know you talked about you never really wavered any on the sidelines, but whenever they took that lead in the second quarter, what was kind of the vibe on the sideline, and what was kind of your thought process as a coaching staff?
We just knew that we could move the ball, we could score. We just had to make some adjustments on defense and get some stops. So even when they scored there late, in the fourth quarter to go up 20-14, nobody got rattled. Like I say, that's usually our MO before. Everybody gets rattled, starts hollering at each other and blaming each other. And we didn't do that. We come back. Like I say, it was 2 plays later. I think on the second play of that drive, we throw the ball to Jeffrey and go right down and score. And then, like I say, the next series we had that big defensive stop when they lost the down. So, and we played better defense as the game went along. And then also people was talking about 12 had over almost 300 yards with 41 carries. I said, but yeah, did y'all hear what you just said? 41 carries. Kids.
He had more carries on his own than you had offensive plays.
Oh yeah, the week before he had 37 carries and almost 300 yards. So that part didn't bother us. It really didn't. And if you look at it, a lot of the yards, he had the big long run. It had a big series there before halftime, then that big long run to score a touchdown. You take that away, and you're under 200 yards. Yeah. But he's a great kid, and we knew he was a great back. So that part didn't really bother us because of as many carries he had. Now, if you got like 10 or 12 carries that many yards, then there's something wrong. But 41 carries, and that was all their offense was. It seemed like if they tried to get by somebody else, we had to negative plays. I know the other run back maybe I think he had around 90 yards, but you take away Burleson, and they're under 100 yards there. So it was a big game. Burleson was a good kid and a good player. So again, it just makes us better.
Let's talk about your leaders on offense. We always come in here each week, and it seems like we talk about Jacob Susong and Nash Schrader. Nash had those 2 touchdowns in the first half. Jacob had a great game, only passed it 13 times, but was 8 of 13 passing, which is a great completion percentage that you always like to have. And then he had 124 yards and those 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter to Jeff Dotson and Trey Gentry. Talk about how they were able to lead you through the night in such an important game.
Well, the big thing was there the drive that Trey scored on. We had a big third down. We ran a little smash play out there, and Lucas Couch got a big first down. And really, besides Jeffrey was the play of the night. That was the game that we felt like, broke the game. I didn't say break it over because we went up 21-20, but that's when you felt like, it was the South Greene team right there where Jeffrey made that big play. And then Trey's touchdown, that was a check by Trey. We knew. We've told him all year and nobody was out there covering him. Now, they were expecting to run. That's what we were getting ready to do. Trey didn't have anybody out there, and he checked, and we scored. And that was a big score right there to put us up 2 touchdowns at that time. Well, to actually just put us up 8 because we was up 21-20, and that put us up 8. So that was big. And, of course, the very next play we had to scoop a score, and that's really what put the game away. So Jacob done well throwing the ball. He had the interception, but he just missed Trey, couldn't see him, and thought Simon was open and threw the ball short. But other than that, he did what we had to do. He didn't get gun shy for the interception. Sometimes quarterbacks do that, but Susong didn't. Threw the big dart there to Jeffrey to get that touchdown to take us up in the lead.
What was the relief like on the sideline whenever Simon scoops and scores that kickoff? Because a lot of people don't realize how important special teams truly is in a football game, and I think that really put it into perspective too, where you go up 8, they still have a chance to go down the field, potentially tie the game and send it to overtime, and then Simon ends up scooping that one and taking it to the end zone. What was the relief like on the sideline whenever that moment happened?
Well, that was big for us, because that put it away there with 2 minutes to go in the game.
Yeah.
It felt like, they were not going to throw it. If they do, they threw one pass that they've got to go down the field, and they did. They made past midfield, but of course they turned it over on downs, and we ran the clock out there. But you know what? I think that was the 3rd time this year that we played well and scored, and all we've done well in all 3 phases. Special teams. That's the 3rd game we've scored special teams, maybe the 4th. Scored on offense, and so that was big. Special teams have been big for us this year. The kickoff return was super huge. After they drove all night and took the lead in that first drive, and then we got the kick return. So special teams have been big for us. And in high school sometimes you don't feel like you work enough with special teams. We made an effort this year to do that. We got Brant, good kicker. We work every day with him and make sure that we do our job there. And that was big. A lot of people. One thing before. If Hampton, you always know they're going for 2. So years before, when we didn't have a kicker, we were probably going for 2 there early also. But you kick, you're still down 1 point. If you get the lead, then you've got that lead, and then you can go for 2 later. So having a big kicking game is huge. Special teams have been huge. Brant's punted well this year, and he's kicked off well along with kicking the extra points. So special teams will be big for us this year, and hopefully throughout the playoffs it could continue to be big.
How incredible is it that once again the defense allowed less than 21 total points? I think the most that you allowed a team to all year was 20, and that was 3 times: the Crockett game, the Eagleton game, and this Hampton game. And not a lot of times are you able to have such a good defense that allows teams to such a small margin of point totals at the end of the night. But throughout the whole entire season, never did you allow a team to score 21 or more points. So is that something that you can hang your hat on at the end of the day, knowing that in the regular season every team scored 20 or less points?
Oh yeah, that's big. Because I'm a big defensive guy. Before I became head coach, I was called defense. So I've always been a big defensive guy. I think defense wins games. So and that's kind of been a lot of people hadn't talked about our defense all year. That's fine. That's what you want. But we just got, we got hard-nosed guys out there. A lot of them, don't stand out. You would think, oh, that kid can play or that kid can play. We just play good team defense and do what we're supposed to do. And so defense has been great this year. And we knew in the preseason, when we went to preseason, played, Northview and Gatlinburg, 2 big physical teams, and we played pretty good that game defense. So we kind of knew if we stayed healthy, we could be pretty good on defense. And we've been, at times throughout the year we've been not break, and sometimes that's got to happen. And in some games we've just dominated, and we felt like in this stretch here, these last 5 games, that the defense is what's really really stepped up and played well. And again, if we're going to go deep in the playoffs, you got to have a good defense, and that's what we got to do. So that's what we're trying to hang our head on. Offense has got to score and get opportunity, but defense has got to make stops, and that's what we feel good about going in the playoffs.
And the last thing I'll talk about in this recap also is those seniors. They hadn't had a region championship since they were freshmen. Some of them weren't on the team as a freshman or weren't on varsity as a freshman. They were probably on JV. For them to be able to walk off the field and claim their first and only region championship as seniors, how much do you think it meant to them?
Oh, I think it was huge. You know that you played 5 conference games your senior year, you won them all. You haven't been beat so far here at South Greene. That's a big deal.
I think it was the first time they'd beat Hampton too as a varsity squad.
Yeah, that group had, because like I say, 2 years ago up here, they beat us 20-0. Last year, they beat us. But I think 3 years ago when they were freshmen, we had beat them. But of course, a lot of them wasn't playing. That's when we had, the year we went up there with Luke Myers and them and beat them. So they were freshmen. A lot of them was on the sideline at that point. So it's huge for those seniors. You always, when you win a conference like that, it's big. We'll buy them a T-shirt here or something to wear. That's always huge. That's what I told them before the game. I said, guys, I ain't buying you anything if you're co. I said that ain't right. So that was big for us, so we got that done. And so that's big for the seniors, something to remember for the rest of their life.
It's a big incentive for them to win that game, getting them T-shirts.
Oh, yeah, that's it. That's right.
But hopefully the celebration wasn't the last celebration. Hopefully we have a few more left to go with the playoffs up ahead. It's the best time of the year now. It's the playoffs. It's what you play the game of football for. You're in the postseason now. It's always a privilege to play football in November. Before we talk about that game too much, though, of course, we need to get a word in from our sponsors first, so we'll preview that game here in just a minute here on Grassroots Media.
At Corner Pond, the friendly and knowledgeable staff has the experience necessary to help you out regardless the need. Have an item of value you'd like to pawn or sell? Corner Pond can help. They pawn numerous items of value, including firearms, tools, ammunition, silver, coins, and much more. When you walk through their doors, you'll find well-stocked shelves full of electronics, gaming systems, fishing and hunting equipment, car audio and accessories. And don't forget about the room full of guitars and basses and amplifiers, or their outside lawn and garden equipment. Corner Pond is a case knife dealer and carries numerous used knives as well. Stop by and let the friendly staff at Corner Pond help you today at 432 East Bernard Avenue, Greenville, Tennessee. For more than 30 years, Tommy's Plumbing has served customers in East Tennessee with licensed and professional plumbing services. From installing your new faucet to replacing your existing piping system, our team at Tommy's Plumbing is trained to handle the job with professionalism, attention to detail, and integrity. By offering warranties on most products installed by our technicians, Tommy's Plumbing stands behind our work, ensuring that your plumbing needs are not only met, but that your problem is solved for the long term. When you need reliable and professional plumbing service, Tommy's is the only call to make. So give us a call today and let us show you the Tommy's difference.
Welcome back to Grassroots Media. Welcome back to this week's edition of the Gary's Paint Body Shop Shawn Jones Show, where we cover everything on Rebel Hill with the South Greene Rebels football team. As always, I'm joined here with Rebels head coach Shawn Jones. So it's playoff time. It's the best time of the year. I know you love whenever the calendar turns November and you get a scheduled football game, especially here at Rebel Hill, here at home. You've got Tellico Plains coming in this week. Talk to us about Tellico Plains and what you expect on Friday night.
Tellico Plains got a good football club. They're 6-4. They ended up 4th, but they were in a lot of their games in the conference. They got a big football team. Some athletes running around. It's been 5 years since they've been in the playoffs. And, I've talked to the boys all week. Hopefully that's a big deal. We're used to being in the playoffs and we're at home. That's another big deal. We're at home. They got to travel a while. So, we're just excited to be here. The thing of it is that it can be a little bit sad. We're now at that second season where if you lose, you go home.
Yeah.
And, all year you tell the seniors, hey, you got one more game or two more games or three more games that you're for sure going to get. Now you're not. This is it. This will be the last game that you're assured you're going to get until you win that game. So that's a big deal. That when you got a good group of seniors that this year, which we have every year, that you really like. You kind of feel for them and you want them to continue that thing. You want to go all the way to the end. That's your dream every year, is to play the state championship, knowing that win, lose, or draw, that's your last game that you can go to. So it's big for these seniors coming here playing Tellico Plains. They're going to bring, a good football team in here that we're going to have to play well to beat.
How much does it matter that you get to host this game also? Because last year you had to travel. You had to take that long bus ride over to Bledsoe County. The year before, I think you hosted Rockwood and you were able to come out with a win. A lot of people know that hosting is important, but how crucial is it to host a playoff game?
Well, it's super huge. And I go back to last year. We go down to Bledsoe County and the way they played, and I went and watched them the next week up at Hampton, and to me, in 1 week, it's a totally different team.
Yeah.
It's the same team, but when you're at home and you're away, I think your teams are totally different. The good news is for us, that if we can win, we get two games here, and then you have to go on the road. And then, like we talked last year, that first week, South Greene's never won a playoff game on the road. We always win our games here, so that's another goal. To make it that third round. You be here 2 weeks, but you wouldn't be that third round. So that's huge. Let's have the goal to at least make that third round, win that third round, and then of course you're in uncharted territories for South Greene, and we feel like we got the opportunity. For many years, if you made the playoffs, you knew it was over. You had some teams. We felt like we could compete for a couple years with Meggs, and they just would wear us out. But now that Meggs has left and things have changed, here in 2A. We feel like if we're healthy, that's a big deal. We haven't been this healthy in years coming in the playoffs, having everybody you feel like ready to go. So it's huge. You want to make a run. You sit and you dream, and I tell the boys all the time, I want to practice on Thanksgiving, see what that's like. That means you're in the semifinals, you're round 4, something we've never done. We've never done it in South Greene history. We made it to the third round a couple times. So now we want to make even more history by going on and getting to the fourth round. So it's an exciting time around here. Like I said, November rolls around. It's my favorite time of the year, especially being in the playoffs. And you got Christmas coming up. Get my Christmas tree up. That's big for me. November 1st comes around. My wife drives me all the time. But, that's the way I am. But the biggest thing is high school playoff football. Don't get no better.
And I think if we go back to the first interview we did this year over in your office, the main thing that you had talked about was staying healthy. And that's something that you've done throughout the year. I think you started the year a little banged up. You had some of your playmakers that weren't on the field until about the third or fourth games of the season. I remember one that was in a cast on the sideline, and now they're healthy. So it looks like you're healthy going into this game also. So how important is that to be able to have everybody at full strength out there, knowing that you can look at your playbook and say, well, we can't run this because this player's not on the field. You kind of have an open playbook to run with everybody out there.
That's huge. We went the first 3 games, maybe it was 4. I think it's 4 without Trey.
Yeah.
That was big, and we was able to, hold course right there. And then Charlie got hurt down at Seymour, and we were told then, he was be out the rest of the year, and he only missed 3 games, and that was huge. He got back on the field last week, and it made a difference for us against Hampton. He was still out of shape, but he played. So we lost a freshman to a knee injury. He had started some games, but we were able. The night he got hurt, he was starting for a guy that had to miss. So for other reasons. So we've been very, very lucky. And like I say, in the last few years, last year quarterback's out. Nash missed all those games, and our big receiver missed the same games as Nash did with a broken hand, TJ, and that was big. And then of course, we talked about before. Year before last, our middle linebacker was beat up all year, and then of course the year before that we had the big injury with Luke. So it was just and sometimes that can be a big downer when you're not healthy. Knowing if these guys are healthy, the outcome can be different. So it choose going to the playoffs because if you get beat, you want to get beat full strength. That way, you put everybody out there that had the opportunity to help you. So it's huge going in the playoffs, very healthy.
Let's talk about Tellico Plains just a little bit more before we end this interview also. What kind of defense and offense can we expect from them? Because a lot of people, including myself, probably don't know a lot about Tellico Plains. So tell us what we can expect if we watch the game on Friday night.
Well, offensively, it's kind of, you feel like all year they can't find their identity because early in the year they were spread.
Okay.
Then they went to what we call the inverted bone, but they're in shotgun. You got two backs beside the quarterback and one dotting the I behind them, so they'll do that. Then they'll go twin backs, one on each side of the quarterback, and then not have the guy dotting the I behind them. And then they'll go some pro I, that's your fullback and a tailback, and then they'll go some power look. So they all year long they've done different stuff. So what you're hoping is they can't find that identity. They're just kind of searching what to do. But what they do well. They got a real good quarterback. They've had some injuries. They had their actual start quarterback of the year is out for the year, and then they had a kid quit. 23, he's going to play quarterback, and he's a good athlete. He runs the football really hard and got some speed. So they're going to do different things offensively that we hadn't seen this year as far as doing it. I mean, we've seen it, but they're doing different times. When they're going to do it, it's kind of thing. Now defensively, they'll run a 2-4-2-5. Okay. So they'll come in they'll have a 3 and a 1 and two defensive ends on defense, and they got some speed. They'll give you some stuff throwing the ball, and you think you really got something, but you watch on film, they close really well, and you got some good linebackers. So again, it's the playoffs. You got to play, and to me, you got to play well any game in the playoff. So we're going to play well. Come here, but again, got them at home. They're traveling probably at least 3 hours to get here. Tellico Plains, I think, is down towards Chattanooga, so they're probably traveling 2 to 3.5 hours to get here. So that's a big deal. We get out of school, we get our pregame meal, we come here and hang out, get ready for the game. So that's huge having it at home. So it's going to be an interesting night. Again, you win or go home, and we got to keep that in our mind and come out and play well and beat Tellico Plains.
To be able to win also, at the end of our interview, we talked about 3 keys to the game that you need to carry out. When you play Tellico Plains in the first round of the playoffs this Friday, what are they?
Well, special teams is big. We've said in the last few weeks that special teams is huge. We got to win that battle. Defense, we got to play well and get them off the field and make them punt to us and get the offense the ball. And then, of course, when we get the ball, we got to take. Last week we didn't have a lot of possessions. We got to score when we get the opportunity this week, and that way we feel like if you can get away from them 2 or 3 touchdowns, then you have an opportunity to win the game. So offense, defense, and special teams that we really talk about is big for us this week, especially in high school. So we do those 3 things well, we'll win the ball game.
35 total plays is mind-blowing.
Yeah, I mean, it is.
For an entire football game.
Yeah, I mean, again, but when you play Hampton, even sometimes you play like Happy Valleys and stuff like that, that's what you're going to get. You're going to get those games that, you got to take care of your opportunities. And it's like that way every year with Hampton. Yeah. I mean, we talk about it. It's when you look at the stat sheet after Hampton, you're always looking. If you get 45 plays against Hampton, that means you're blowing them out. So hopefully one of these days we can get over 45 plays and you feel like you've beaten it pretty good if you're over 45 plays on offense.
Hey, you could sleep easy Friday night and Saturday night. The Vols got another win on Saturday.
Yeah, they did, but the other team we're going to quit talking about. The one that plays on Sunday, they've kind of ticked me off. But hey, we did have a big election this week, and so my guy won there. So we're 1-0 this week.
Right? 1-0 this week.
1-0 this week. With the big election, big Trump winning. So I'm a big history teacher and I'm big into politics. So that's huge. So hey, maybe that's a sign that we're going to win this week.
Who's Tennessee got this week?
Tennessee, they got Mississippi State.
That's right. Yeah.
Me. So they have opportunity, and the other team, not going to talk about. Don't care who they got.
I
know who they got, but we're not going to talk about it because until they start winning, we're done talking about it.
Is it that rival up north?
I'm not going to mention, but you're probably right. Yeah, they're green, which there you go.
They wore their better green last week.
Well, to me, no green is better. So anyway, yeah, that's the way it is.
That's all I got for you this week, Coach.
Thank
Once
you.
again, appreciate you. Hope to sit down next week and talk about a win over Tellico Plains going into the second round. But until then, thank you all for watching this week's edition of the Gary's Paint Body Shop Shawn Jones Show. Look forward to seeing y'all next time here on Grassroots Media.